the way we have been going forward, where the gap between the rich and the poor keeps growing. It's not politically viable. It's not morally right. It's just not going to happen. And so we're right back to having an enormous deficit problem, but no solution. And then investors are just not going to invest. Individuals are not going to buy a new house or take a vacation or buy a new car. Everybody is frozen because they just look and they say, this cannot go on. You cannot have a government that doesn't function. And that's exactly what we have now.
Long term, the question we need to ask is not how do we protect particular industries? It is how do you strengthen an American middle class that is under siege and to help it grow? Right now, the American middle class is being pressured from all sides. Globalization has moved many middle-class jobs overseas. Automation has rendered many middle-class jobs obsolete. Cost increases, especially for health care, college tuition, and tort reform, and tort law, have eaten away at real income. The shifting fundamentals of the American economy and the squeezing of the American middle class is an enormous problem that the Great Recession has laid bare.
In the financial crisis that you addressed, the Dodd-Frank legislation tried to address it, and the Volcker rule was part of it. Do you think that is a plus or a minus for the financial industry, financial service industry?
I don't think there's any question that there should be regulation. Unfettered capitalism just leads to ups and downs and haves and have-nots that society will never tolerate. On the other hand, it's the uncertainty of the regulations and how they're going to be interpreted that is the most difficult thing. If we really want America to be the most advanced economy for decades to come, shouldn't we be investing more in science and research, the science and research that fuels innovation and entrepreneurship, even if it requires raising new revenue? Of course we should. But this, as we all know, is Washington. So what makes sense usually doesn't make good politics for one party or the other or both. The dishonesty in Washington isn't just about science, of course. We weren't tackling so many of the biggest problems that affect your future. We aren't. From the lack of good jobs in many communities to the prevalence of gun violence to the threats to the economy and threats to the environment. Because too many political leaders are being dishonest about facts and data. Today, we hear echoes of the challenges the Roosevelts faced. Industry consolidation has reached record levels and is suppressing competition and choice. And more Americans, especially in your generation, are questioning whether capitalism is capable of creating a just society. Their faith in America and all that we represent is being shaken. If we do not act to restore it, the turmoil in our politics today will be only a prelude of what's to come, and that could shake the very foundations of our society.